Growing up, I had a lot of anxiety. I'm not going to say I had crippling anxiety, but I had pretty severe anxiety. And I used to kind of escape into my imagination a lot. It was one of the only things that made me feel more confident and in control of my life. But it wasn't until I got older that I realized I was doing something that actually had a name. And it's a coping mechanism called maladaptive daydreaming. Now, I'm just going to read you off the definition. It's a condition where intensely vivid, complex, and excessive fantasies interfere with daily life. Now, heavy emphasis on the interfere with daily life. I used to do this for hours at a time. And this isn't normal daydreaming where you're thinking about yourself eating some sushi when you get off work, okay? Or, you know, winning $1 million. I mean, it can be, I guess, but these are intricate, long, drawn out scenarios that go on for hours. And they feel so real to you, at least emotionally, that you lose track of time. Now, I did this a lot as a kid. Most of the time I did it, I would say it was to cope with things that had happened that I wasn't happy with. So, for example, I mean, I could tell stories about this for hours, but when I was in elementary school, for example, let's say I got embarrassed at school. Some kid made fun of me, okay? I would go home, put in some music, and just imagine myself standing up to that kid. And that's, like I said, that sounds sad, but it's the truth. I would sit there and I would imagine myself doing things I wish I would have done, and it would give me the satisfaction of standing up for myself without actually having to do it. Now, one thing I will say about why this is so destructive is you can avoid real life problems and procrastinate real responsibilities by giving yourself the emotional satisfaction that these intricate daydreams give you. It genuinely becomes easier to do things in your head and and think about yourself accomplishing stuff. Think about it than it does to go out and put yourself out there in real life. Now, I found this term on TikTok probably when I was like, I don't know, 18, 19. And as I got older through high school, luckily I was able to kind of manage this coping mechanism. But when I actually found the term, it helped me so much because I realized other people were experiencing it too. I always thought I was a little crazy, I'm not gonna lie. But it really meant a lot to me when I actually could put a name to the thing that I did for so many years and wasted so much time and wasted so much energy on doing. Because it really is a trauma response. All jokes aside, it's a trauma response. And it was just nice to see that other people experienced it too. And that's really the main reason I wanted to make this video. I didn't really want to turn this into like an essay type video where I'm sitting here giving people advice. I mean, I do want to give a little advice on how I deal with it just in case there's people still struggling with this, because it really does feel like a mental illness. You will procrastinate real life things by getting in your own head and getting in your own way and imagining yourself doing stuff. Another example I can give. When I was younger, I'm gonna sound like a loser. I would go in my room in probably like 7th grade. I'm a boy in 7th grade. I'm starting to want the attention of girls more, okay? I would go in my room, I'd put some headphones in, and I would just imagine girls being like, "Oh, oh, I like him." It sounds so sad. It really was. It really is kind of sad, but I was just a little kid. I was a little self-conscious, and that's where probably most of the people that do this, that's probably where most of it stems from. Just being self-conscious, not being confident in yourself, and just wanting more for yourself. But another reason I wanted to make this video is I was really just curious on how other people deal with it, and I wanted to talk about how I deal with it. So one of the ways I've learned to manage it, whenever I catch myself drifting, now, yeah, drifting, that's what it's called. It sounds dramatic, but it's the truth. That's how it feels. You're really drifting out of reality into your own reality. I just have to do something productive, whether it's getting some exercise, like hitting the treadmill, working out, going on a walk. I need to do something at least somewhat productive because the chances are if that takes too much brain power for you to do something productive while you think about it, it's probably taking up way too much mental space. Another way I learned how to kind of manage this is you just have to get good at catching yourself doing it because it feels good. It gives you the satisfaction of doing things without actually having to go out there and be a productive human. And this is why it kind of messed with me as a kid. It would mess with my productivity. Also, these can be negative things too. You can maladaptive daydream about negative things. So I would think about myself, doing something, being a successful person, and then I would imagine everything that would get in the way of that, and all the bad things that could happen. And these are real emotions you feel. So all the positive emotions you feel while maladaptive daydreaming, you're also going to feel all of the negative ones. For those of you that also deal with this, I'd like to know if how old you were when you caught it and the ways you found, because you can't really get rid of it. You can't get rid of daydreaming. It's your brain. I just want to know how y'all learn to kind of cope with this thing. Because, like I said, I grew out of it as I got older, thankfully. I just learned how to cope with it. I still struggle with it a little bit. I can feel myself wanting to do it. And that, for those who have never done this, it's going to sound like I'm crazy, but it really is an addiction. You get addicted to the dopamine you feel from imagining yourself doing things that you didn't actually do. It's crazy. I know it's crazy, but for those of y'all that also have went through this as a child, whether it's from trauma or just coping with being a self-conscious kid, let me know some of your craziest stories, I guess. I didn't want to turn this into some essay 3 hour long video because I genuinely could sit here and tell stories about this for hours. It's something I really struggled with as a kid. I'm gonna find a picture to throw up on the screen to really represent how it feels to be a maladaptive daydreamer. I know this video is kind of all over the place. I didn't want it to be too long, like a 3 hour long essay type video. Now, if you stayed around for this long, you probably noticed this is my first video. I kind of just wanted to start this channel to just talk about random stuff. I mean, I'm a pretty bored person. I like to keep myself busy a little bit. And I didn't want these videos to be too polished. I kind of just wanted to get on here and talk. So if you're into, just listen to people talk for, short amount of time about things that don't matter, then yeah, you can stick around, I guess, if you want. If not, thanks for listening to me talk about this. Like I said, for those that deal with this, let me know your the ways you manage it in the comments if you want. All right, y'all. Peace.